Okay, welcome to my rainy workshop. This is another barrow wheel conversion for your drift trike. This is the other type of barrow wheel you can get with some bearings and a flange on the inside. Now, what the problem is that the flange generally comes loose and you end up with something like that. That's where it's bent. Yep, and it comes off there. It's not welded at all, and it just fits in. Plus these bearings, as you can see on this one, have just fallen apart because there's a lot of movement in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to weld around the flange, and then we're going to put a new bearing. In this case I've got a 15mm axle, but you could go 16. Plop those in there. Now by welding it you actually harden the steel and stiffen the wheel as well. Unfortunately you will need a welder for this job, but putting these new bearings in and welding them around there, they're almost as good as go-kart wheels. I've been using them for about a year and a half, and it's only side impact that's a little bit of a worry. Where the go-kart wheels will snap off your axle, and on these ones you'll bend them. But go-kart wheels are 30 quid and these are £5 each. So if you do buckle them, just start again. Okay, unbolt the wheel. That will leave you with two bits. These aren't very good bolts, so replacing these bolts might be a good idea as well, but they're okay, they'll do. A bit cheap. You don't need to touch this is all good. We're just going to concentrate on the back. First thing you need to do is whack out these two bearings. It's fairly straightforward. So once you've got your bearings out, that's what they look like. Complete load of rubbish. Fall apart, lots of movement in them. Then you replace them with these ones, and they are only about £1. So they're actually motorcycle bearings, and then they fit straight in. I've got 15mm with a, I think it was 38 mil outside, but you could obviously get 16mm inside and 38mm outside as well, depending on what your axles are. And they just press in there nicely. So clamp it all up. And what we're going to do is we're going to weld along here all the way around, and then in here to strengthen the axle, and because there's no weld there, it's just a press fit, and then you'll have a nice solid wheel. So there's the welding finished, quite strong on the axle, ready to press in the bearings. Now what we've done, as you can see, this is all heated up, so this is now being contracted and heated a couple of times, so that's stronger. And this here around the side there, that is quite hard, that steel now. So we're going to get a grinder on the inside of that, so we can press this bearing in. Don't be tempted to smack that in, because you will screw up the bearing. You want a tight fit, but not too tight. And if you do whack it in, then you'll get a really rough running bearing. Yep, so I use this grinding wheel on the end of my drill, and then go on the inside, grind away until I can just press in my bearing. So this is it pressed in. Now the way to test whether it's in nicely is if you do that and it feels like it's a bit lumpy, then there's too much pressure from the outside pushing on it and it's too tight a fit. So if it's doing that, whack it out again and grind it a bit more. The last one's a bit easier because you haven't heated up the metal, and that will just pop in there, give it a tap, and that will go straight in. Lastly, take your axle. All I've got is some stainless steel with a collar, and make sure it aligns with the two bearings, and then bolt your wheel back together, and it's ready for paint. One strengthened barrow wheel, put its collar on, new axle, weld the back end. If you don't have a welder, you could at least exchange the bearings and just pop some new ones in, make it much faster and much smoother anyway.